There's some brands that are just there. They're a quiet staple you'll find in millions of households across India. Today, we're talking about one of those brands, Rupa, and we're going to unpack the incredible story of how it became such a household name.
So how does that even happen? How does something as basic as a vest go on to become a national icon? Well, let's dive into the 50-plus-year journey of Rupa Company to figure that out.
All right, let's rewind the clock. Our story kicks off back in the late 1960s. It starts with a family, 3 brothers, who saw a huge opportunity that, believe it or not, pretty much everyone else was overlooking.
I want you to just picture this for a second. This was a time before big, recognizable brands were on every shelf. The innerwear market? It was a total free-for-all, run by countless small, local workshops. And that meant there was almost no consistency in quality, fit, or anything really. The market was absolutely ripe for a big change.
And that's exactly where the Agarwala brothers, PR, GP, and KB stepped in. Back in 1968, they founded Rupa with one clear, powerful vision: to create a trusted brand you could actually rely on, and to do it by making knitted garments at a massive scale. Think about it. They were taking a basic necessity and giving it a name you could count on.
Okay, so you've got this one great idea, but to really grow, you're going to need more than just a single product. So let's take a look at how they expanded that initial vision into a whole portfolio of brands designed for the entire family.
What's so smart about Rupa's growth is how methodical it was. They didn't try to be everything to everyone right out of the gate. Nope. They started with the basics, got them absolutely right, and then, step by logical step, they started expanding their offerings.
And just look at what that created. It's not just one brand, it's a whole family of them. You've got Frontline, which is probably the name most people know, but then there's Softline for women, Thermocot for those chilly winters, and Macroman for a more premium feel. By creating all these targeted sub-brands, they managed to capture all these different corners of the market, all without watering down their main identity.
Now, promising quality is one thing, but actually delivering that quality at a national scale? That's a whole different ballgame. To pull that off, Rupa had to build a seriously powerful manufacturing system where they controlled pretty much everything.
So how'd they do it? The answer comes down to this big businessy term, vertical integration. But don't worry, the concept is actually pretty simple. It just means they built their own manufacturing backbone. By controlling the entire process, from knitting the fabric to dyeing it, they could make sure every single product that left the factory met their high standards for fit, feel, and color.
And right here, you can really see what that engine room looks like in practice. We're talking about their very own knitting plants, advanced dyeing facilities, research and development labs, and super strict quality checks at every stage. This is the machine that let them produce for millions of people while still keeping that core promise of reliability.
All right, so they've got great products. They've built this amazing manufacturing machine. What's next? Well, it was time to go big. The company was ready for its next major evolution, stepping out into the public spotlight.
And wow, this timeline just lays it all out, doesn't it? From that initial founding in 1968, through decades of patiently building up its brands, all the way to becoming a publicly traded company on India's major stock exchanges in the 2010s. It's just a story of steady, deliberate growth.
And this is a really big deal because going public changes everything. As a private, family-led firm, your main focus is on the business itself. But once you're a public company, suddenly you have to answer to investors, focus on quarterly reports, and adopt a much more formal corporate structure. It's a whole new level of accountability.
Okay, so that brings us right up to the present day. Rupa is a giant, a true household name with a massive presence. But you know how it is in the world of consumer goods. You can't just stand still, not for a second.
And if you look at their recent performance, they seem to be in a pretty strong spot. We're talking a reported net profit of around 833 million rupees for the 2024-25 financial year. That's a huge jump from the previous year, and it shows a really healthy recovery in their bottom line.
So where are they selling all this stuff? Well, pretty much everywhere you can think of. While this chart is a simplification, it gives you an idea of their reach. You'll find their products in local corner shops, big supermarkets, all over online marketplaces. They even have institutional suppliers. They're everywhere.
But to stay on top, you've got to keep changing. And that's exactly what Rupa's doing. They're focusing on becoming more sustainable. They're jumping on growing trends like athleisure. And they're paying really close attention to what younger customers want, which isn't just reliability anymore. It's also about modern fit, style, and comfort.
When you boil it all down, it's pretty amazing how one single idea, reliability, has carried this brand for more than 5 decades.